Hello and welcome to your lesson 2.2 video, multiplying rational numbers. In this lesson, we'll be working on this standard 7 NSA1. And here is your notes page. Don't forget to get your notes glued in. And we want your standard learning target and date on that note page. Your learning target today is I can explain what it means when time is represented with a negative number in a situation about speed and direction, and also I can multiply two negative numbers. To get us grounded in this idea of what it's going to mean to have negative time, let's take a look at this image of this woman walking. And if I were to ask you, where is she going to be 5 seconds after this picture was taken? This is the kind of work you did in that first lesson. You'd be like, well, if she is walking west, then that means that maybe 5 seconds after she'd be maybe somewhere around here. Who knows? We don't really know her velocity. We just know she's walking west. But what about before this picture was taken? So if 0 is that reference point, then before is in the past. It is maybe she was somewhere about right here, 5 seconds before the picture was taken. All right, let's talk a little bit more about what this whole idea of backwards in time could look like. So here are some positions and times for a car before and after it, sorry for that typo, passed the traffic camera. All right, so we are being asked in what direction is our car traveling, what is its velocity, what does it mean when time is 0, and what could it mean to have negative time? To get us situated, I'm going to imagine we have this number line right here in the middle between position and time. So over here is east, or all of our positive values, and over here is west, or all of our negative values. And we can see that that's pretty true with these numbers. All right, so let's figure out what direction this car is traveling in. So I'm always going to use this beautiful reference point 0. To see that as time passes, what's happening to our car? Well, we can see here that when time increases by 1, the position of our car increases by 60. And then when time increases again, that position of our car increases again, which means that that car is traveling east. As time moves forward, we are further to the east. So again, as time moves forward, our car is further east. Next, let's chat about its velocity. Well, we can remember that velocity multiplied by time is going to be our position. And here on this very table, we can see that as time is increasing, for every second it increases, we are increasing by 60. So you can see that right here, there's plus 60. And then to get to our next second, that is plus 60. So we could say that our velocity is 60, because 60 times 1 equals 60, and 60 times 2 equals 120. So there's those positions. And so not only is the velocity 60, but it is 60 feet per second east. All right, so what does it mean then when time is 0? We have our time as 0 right here. And what that would be is that is our reference point. That is the point in which we are at the camera. So at 0 seconds, the car is at the camera. So D, what could it mean then to have negative time? Well, if positive time, so again, I'm going to highlight all of my positive time. There's positive 1, positive 2. We are heading east, which means in the future, this car will be in the east. Well, let's talk about before that car passed the camera. And I'll use red for this. So 1 second before the car passed the camera, it was at negative 60. 2 seconds before the car passed the camera, it was at negative 120. 3 seconds before the car passed the camera, it was at negative 180. So negative time here would mean before the 0 reference point. And we can look at what those calculations would look like. Our velocity remains 60. We could say, well, if our velocity is 60, 60 times negative 1 is negative 60. 60 times negative 2 is negative 120, and so on. Let's check out this example, which doesn't have a tidy number line, but it says around noon, a car is traveling at negative 32 meters per second. So I'm going to highlight that because there is our velocity down a highway. At exactly noon, when time was 0, the position of the car was also 0. Let's start filling this in here. So we know if noon is 0 seconds, then 2 is going to be 2 seconds after noon. And if noon is 0 seconds, then negative 4 is going to be 4 seconds before noon. So we already have this velocity, and let's remember that velocity times time equals position. So we can just start using some calculations to find this out. So in 2 seconds, this would be negative 32 times 2. 5 seconds, negative 32 times 5. 8 seconds, negative 32 times 8. Negative 32 times 11. And then going backwards in time, or before noon, that would be negative 32 times negative 1, or negative 32 times negative 4, negative 32 times negative 7, and negative 32 times negative 10. Go ahead and pause and get those filled in. Pause. So here it is all filled in, and what I want you to notice is that we can also find the velocity on a number line from here and say that, well, at noon, this car started traveling, and so as time increased, it got further into the negatives. Before noon, if this car was traveling at that same rate, we could say that before noon, it was further to the east. Okay. So here's a you try it. Again, sorry, there's some typos on here, but we've got Billy Bo Bob lost his phone. Silly Billy Bo Bob. He knows he checked it 10 minutes ago, but must have dropped it. If he has been walking at a velocity of negative 65 feet per minute, so he's walking west, what was his position 10 minutes ago? Go ahead and pause this and give it a try. Pause. All right, here's what I got. So if velocity times time equals position, I have our velocity, or I should say Billy Bo Bob's, at negative 65 feet per minute. Time is negative 10 because we are looking for the past 10 minutes ago. So here's my equation, negative 65 times negative 10, which means that he was 650 feet east of his current location. So if he had been, let's imagine this is him now, if he kept walking as time moved forward, he would be like do further in the west, but he wants to know where he has been. So in the past, he was in the positives. A negative number times a negative number is a positive number. Alrighty, go ahead and go get those practice problems in your journal, and good luck.